With profound, humble gratitude and love to all venerated enlightened masters, we bow to the Almighty in soulful gratefulness for gifting us with their holy, blessed presence. May all beings be awakened by their divine grace.
Part 3 of 4.
Etc.
Warmongers belong to hell, not to our civilized world.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nos programmes offrent plusieurs langues. Veuillez visiter suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Nuestros programas ofrecen varios idiomas. Visiten suprememastertv.com/schedule.
ਸਾਡੇ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਪੇਸ਼ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਨ ਅਨੇਕ ਭਾਸ਼ਾਵਾਂ। ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇਖੋ suprememastertv.com/schedule.
Perhaps God Most High will take your spirit this night, so be prepared to meet Him by being in a condition of purity when you sleep. Imam Al-Ghazali, vegetarian. Venerable Truth Seeker Imam Al-Ghazali, vegetarian, renewer of Islamic faith, part 2 of 2. Continue watching to find out more.
You can help stop the suffering. Anything you have that is made from animal skins can be made without. Joaquin Phoenix, vegan.
Animal liberation now! 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 We are defined by how we treat the most vulnerable amongst us. The time has come for us to redefine our values so that we are truly living with compassion.
To check in on your Turkish friend, you could ask, Nasılsın? That's how are you in the Turkish language. Greetings, truth-seeking souls. I'm Suleiman. The sincere residents of Turkey invite you to pray for the whole of humanity to embrace a compassionate vegan lifestyle befitting their true celestial nature.
How long it takes to build a new planet?
Welcome to part 2 of a two-part series entitled Venerable Truth Seeker Imam Al-Ghazali, vegetarian, renewer of Islamic faith. The philosopher and theologian Imam Al-Ghazali, vegetarian, or Abu Hamid Muhammad bin Muhammad al-Tusi al-Ghazali in full, is one of the influential and highly revered figures to emerge from within the Muslim world. Towering scholar of immense insight, he is credited with re-orienting Islamic theology back toward an emphasis on divine experience. For this reason, Imam Al-Ghazali is regarded, according to Islamic tradition, as a Mujaddid, a reviver of the faith who appears each century in order to restore and protect the word of Allah. From the outset of his academic career, Imam Al-Ghazali had earned a reputation as being a most brilliant scholar of Islamic doctrine. He was consequently sought after by Persia's sultans who conveyed him to esteemed court appointments. However, at some point Imam Al-Ghazali underwent an inner crisis, no longer being able to reconcile adhering to often politically motivated doctrines while at the same time attempting to cultivate a virtuous life of spiritual attainment. Eventually, Imam Al-Ghazali chose to seek absolute spiritual truths and leave Baghdad to follow his own path as an unassuming teacher in various humble places, free of the burden of state sponsorship. He sought to ultimately revive Islam with his divinely inspired collection of writings. After declaring his intention to depart, Imam Al-Ghazali distributed his fortune, keeping only what he needed to support himself and his children. He initially traveled to Damascus.
In due course, I entered Damascus, and there I remained for nearly 2 years with no other occupation than the cultivation of retirement and solitude, together with religious and ascetic exercises, as I busied myself purifying my soul, improving my character, and cleansing my heart for the constant recollection of God Most High, as I had learned from my study of mysticism. I used to go into retreat for a period in the mosque of Damascus, going up the minaret of the mosque for the whole day and shutting myself in, so as to be alone.
Later, he took the job of a humble caretaker. After listening in on a religious debate, he solved the enquiries, much to everyone's surprise. At that moment, he realized his own pride and quickly left Damascus before anyone realized who he really was. Imam Al-Ghazali also traveled to Jerusalem, where he continued to examine and refine himself. He began what is widely considered to be his most important writing, the Revival of Religious Sciences, which became one of the most influential Islamic books after the Holy Quran. He also made a pilgrimage to Mecca around this time. The continued relevance of the Revival of Religious Sciences today rests with the brilliant way that Imam Al-Ghazali is able to discuss the inner spiritual meaning behind each daily ritual practiced by the Muslims of the day, many of which continue through to the present. Strengthened by his own personal inner experiences, Imam Al-Ghazali sought to use this book to ensure that Islam did not become just a performance of empty procedures or a series of rituals with distorted meaning, as he had witnessed during his time in Baghdad. On the subject of divine light and the human heart, Imam Al-Ghazali reasons that the nature of light is such that it enables visual sight, but is not responsible for perception, because perception is not a function of the physical eye, but of the human soul. He also says that there is no light other than God's light, for all light is a mere metaphor or manifestation of the source of light, which is God alone. Imam Al-Ghazali writes,
"Nothing in paradise will be as pleasure-giving as this vision. The sensual pleasures are worthless when compared to the pleasure of contemplating the divine beauty."
Vegan, tested positive for highly spiritual development.
Sincere viewers, let us take time now to contemplate on the divine within our hearts. We'll be right back here on Supreme Master Television.
We pray for Ukraine, or you reign.
Welcome back to Venerable Truth Seeker Imam Al-Ghazali, vegetarian, renewer of Islamic faith, part 2 of 2. Imam Al-Ghazali performed solo pilgrimages to Syria, Egypt, Mecca, and Medina while dressed in Sufi garb and entirely immersed in spiritual pursuits.
I continued at this stage for the space of 10 years. And during these periods of solitude, there were revealed to me things innumerable and unfathomable.
After his spiritual pilgrimages, Imam Al-Ghazali felt divinely prompted to return to Nishapur, located immediately south of Tus, and carry on his teaching. He was aware that he was not the same person who had gone many years ago. Imam Al-Ghazali eventually returned to his birth town, Tus, and there set up a small private school or Zawiya and a Sufi monastery. Although Imam Al-Ghazali had once vowed by the tomb of Abraham, vegetarian, in Hebron, never again to teach at a state-sponsored school nor from its books. In 1106, he returned to the school of his formative years, the Nizamiya Madrasa in Nishapur, as a teacher. He was determined to bring about a renewal of Islam to the masses, based on the enlightening transformation he had achieved personally. This move was, however, met with strident opposition. He was even brought to trial by Muslim clerics, who sent him before the then Seljuk ruler Ahmad Sanjar, but these accusations failed. Although acquitted, Imam Al-Ghazali found his tenure at the Nizamiya Madrasa virtually impossible because of the overwhelming opposition to his teaching by Muslim clerics. He asked several times to be released from his duties there. However, because of political concerns, he was not permitted to resign. He did manage to continue successfully teaching from his own private school, which he had established in Tus, and this was where he passed away in December 1111. Imam Al-Ghazali's teachings continued to inspire new generations of faithful, almost 1,000 years since he wrote some of the most important works on Islam. The number of books definitely authored by Imam Al-Ghazali exceeds 70. Although there are many other books attributed to him, there are actually other writers paraphrasing original Imam Al-Ghazali works.
There are 211 countries and regions which have animal people protection laws. Norway is one of them.
Norway Animal Welfare Act. The Animal Welfare Act's intent is to promote good animal people welfare and respect for animal persons. Helping an injured animal individual is mandatory, whether wild or domestic. One must alert the authorities when there is reason to believe that animal folk are being subjected to maltreatment or serious neglect with respect to environment, supervision, and care. Those who have repeatedly violated the act may be banned from having contact with animal people. Obey the law of your country. No more animal people slaughterhouses. No more hurting. No more murdering them to eat, to lab test, or for any reason at all. Be vegan. Make peace. So be it.
Imam Al-Ghazali was known to have followed a simple and ascetic lifestyle and is said to have embraced vegetarianism as part of his spiritual practice. Although he did not write extensively on the topic of vegetarianism, there are some indications in his writings that suggest he favored a vegetarian diet. In his monumental work, The Revival of Religious Sciences, Imam Al-Ghazali emphasizes the importance of self-control and moderation in eating and drinking and warned against the dangers of gluttony and overindulgence. He also highlighted the importance of compassion and kindness towards animal people, and he condemned cruelty and mistreatment of our animal co-citizens. Furthermore, Imam Al-Ghazali was influenced by the teachings of the Sufi mystics, who often practiced vegetarianism as a means of purifying the soul and developing greater spiritual awareness. The Beginning of Guidance was written during Imam Al-Ghazali's last days. He wrote,
"When you want to go to sleep, lay out your bed pointing to Mecca, and sleep on your right side, the side on which the corpse reclines in the tomb. Sleep is the similitude of death and waking of the resurrection. Perhaps God Most High will take your spirit this night, so be prepared to meet Him by being in a condition of purity when you sleep."
He reminds that concentration is important during meditation.
The worship. If your heart is not attentive and your members not at rest, this is because of your defective knowledge of the majesty of God Most High. He counseled worshippers to picture themselves being watched by servants of God.
We are grateful to Imam Al-Ghazali for not only bringing Islamic theology back to Allah's divine truth, but also for recording his teaching so that we may continue to learn from him even today. Let us read an excerpt from Imam Al-Ghazali's The Revival of the Religious Sciences to close today's program.
Praise to be God, whose compassion is all-embracing and whose mercy is universal, who rewards his servants for their remembrance of him, with his remembrance of them. Verily God, exalted is He, has said, "Remember me, and I will remember you."
Vegan, the only meals for the developed souls.
Wonderful viewers, thank you for your pleasant company. Coming up next is Rice Cooker Recipes, Part 1 of 2, Cheesy Vegan Vegetable Rice, Spicy Vegan Lentil Vegetable Soup, and Gluten-Free Vegan Carrot Cake, here on Supreme Master Television. May we continue to awaken our inner benevolent selves as we sincerely pray for a vegan and peaceful world.
Russia, go home.
Be vegan, make peace, do good deeds, heaven Godspeed.
Our programs offer many languages. Please visit suprememastertv.com/schedule and suprememastertv.com/ls.